Hi, everyone. I'm here with Tanya Giampetrone. She's an agent at Reisler Talent. She's been with Molly Reisler for 20 years now. Actually, Molly has been the first English agent, right, that opened her agency here, Tanya?
Yes, first English language acting agent. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for taking time to speak to me and answering my questions, Tanya. I know how busy you are because you're always on that answering emails really quickly, sending self-tape auditions, being on the ball. So thank you for taking time today to answer some of my questions.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Awesome. So, Tanya, everybody wants to know, how do we get an agent? If they're not represented, how do they look for agents? Where do they find them? What would you say is the best thing to do?
To find a reputable agent, I would say go to the ACTRA website. There's a list of agents who've signed an agreement with ACTRA saying that we'll abide by specific rules. And so that will give you a hint as to who is abiding by the industry standards. That's, if you're working in English, that's where you can go. You can also go to the UDA site. They have a site also with a list of actors who are part of an association where they abide by certain rules. So all the professional agents will charge specifically the same amount, 15% for film and TV, 10% for theater. So we all abide by those rules. Obviously, confidentiality of our clients, making sure we submit them on all the projects, communicate any type of, anyways, there's a bunch of them. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's certain standards. If you want to be with somebody who's going to represent you appropriately, start by going to the professional associations and look for an agent there. Then obviously you want to find the right match for you based on what it is that you want to do, what markets you want to work in, etc.
Exactly. Oh, the right match. You hit it right on. So it's not that easy finding an agent. You want that person to represent you and understand who you are as an artist, right? And obviously, in order for it to be a win-win situation, when you go out there, you want to be represented at your best.
Exactly. Yes. And so you want to find, if let's say you want to do modeling, I don't represent performers who do modeling. I would not be a good match, obviously. We do film, television, commercial. So you're looking for that match. Certain performers want to work in the voice market and cartoons, that kind of stuff. Again, not all agents do that. So you have, when you go shopping, even though some of them are very professional, is it the right match for you? Do you feel comfortable with them? All of those things have to be established as to your expectations and their expectations. Again, some agents also have very high expectations of you going out and doing all the auditions. Some of them are more adaptable and say, okay, if you don't want to do this type of work, that's fine. You don't want to do stage, or you don't want to do commercials, that's fine. I'm adaptable. So you have to figure that out with them. What exactly is the relationship and what markets you're going to work with together.
Yeah, because a relationship is very important, right? For you, Tanya, and for Molly, you guys want to know exactly who you're going to be representing. Are you looking for qualities like professionalism, being organized, answering your emails? Like, give me some tips, because for me, one thing is, like, if they don't answer their emails within the 24 hours, because the auditions are in 24 hours, they have to be fast on answering.
Often, yes. I think you want to see, even from the application point, if I say to somebody, I want you to do a self-tape, do a scene and get back to me, send it to me, I'm waiting. If that person takes 2 months to get back to me, I'm going to say right there, that's a red flag. And it's happened where people, I've been told they're very good and everything, but I feel that they're not committed. It's the same thing, right? So right, even at the application level, we get a sense of who's really hungry, who's really wants it, who's very passionate by the way they communicate with us on the phone, by the way they write their emails, by the stuff they send us, and by how quickly they respond to our demands. If I say, oh, you should call this photographer or call this acting coach, they come back to me a week later with the demo and all the, having spoken to everybody, I'm like, okay, they're in it, they really want this is somebody I can work with, there's somebody that I can trust. Clearly, if they know some of my clients, obviously it's all the better, because I can check references and see what other people think about them, for sure. So there's a lot of different ways I can verify if that can work. And then there's the personal connection, right? Just chemistry, I guess, as well.
Yeah, definitely. But when we send you, let's say I don't have an agent right now and I want you to represent me, what is the first thing I should do?
take a good headshot. It can be professional. Obviously, if I say professional headshot, I know that person's serious. But if you can manage, especially right now during the pandemic, there's a lot of photographers that aren't working. So you can just take as many natural shots as possible, please. Like nothing too over creative, because I've seen those as well. And then your resume. And if you can film yourself doing a scene or something that shows me what you're capable of. Two contrasting scenes is always best. If you have any special talents like singing or whatever material you can hand to me so I can judge if you're a good fit and what the talent level is, right? So everything you can tell me about yourself, even your interests, what you like, why you're passionate about it, what your expectation is, so that I know if your expectation is reasonable or not, right? There's all those things.
Oh, that's exactly it. So when I train in the academy, I always let them know, have a presentation letter, like say hello and present yourself. You want to be represented. You've done this, and here's my headshot, CV, and my little demo, right?
Demo is always really helpful.
So that's what they say. So a CV is always important because that's something that's going to represent you, but the demo even more, because the demo, you will see the skills. So you will see if they're trained or not. Is that what you're looking for?
For us, okay, so every agent is different. For me, we're known for having trained actors. That is what we're known for. Our reputation in this is based on that. Most of them are theater trained. Most of my performers can do acts. There's a lot of things. So we look mostly at training. I'm not somebody who's going to take an actor because they're beautiful. If they're beautiful, that's fine, but I don't really care. They have to have good hygiene, obviously. But that's another story. But anyways, but yes, I want to see training, because at the end of the day, I always kind of try to explain, especially to parents, right? Because an older performer will have more training and stuff. If you're a kid and you want your kid to work in the industry, you have to kind of relate it to anything else that children do. So they're not going to put your kid on the ice if he doesn't show up for practice, right? They're not going to put your kid to do backflips if they're not doing the work. It's the same thing. Your kid is going out against other children who are well trained, who have resumes, who've been working maybe since they were in diapers. And then your kid's going to go out and think that they're going to get it because they're cute or they have perhaps a little bit of talent, but no training. It's not going to work. And today the industry is far more competitive than it was 20 years ago. When I started 20 years ago, they'd be like, do you know any kids who can do this? But today there's children everywhere. All the agents have decided to have little children rosters, even the ones who specialized in adults before. So there's a lot more competition, and your kid will be going against other performers who are trained. And don't think yes, we have to treat it like an activity to a certain degree with children. They have to be having fun, but it is still a job. So if your child shows up unprepared, that will affect the child's possibility of being rehired. It affects my agency's reputation. It affects everything. So then will we send out that child again if they're not ready, if they're not prepared, if they're not professional? So all those things go into our in our minds in the process of picking somebody and saying, do I think this person is prepared? Do I think this child is ready to go out into the industry? So if they have that training, if I see, they trained with specific people that I know who are in the industry and understand the standards, then that gives me confidence in their capacity to perform.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, you answered all the questions all in one. But it's so great, Tanya, because the reference you're speaking about too, is because we know our Montreal industry. We know who's out there. We know who's coaching. We know who's training.
Right.
We can't lie on the CV, and obviously it's going to show on your demo if you're, it's like I'm a dancer. So my background, obviously, if I stop dancing and come into an audition, my leg is not going to be as high and I'm maybe not going to be able to do my triple pirouettes. It's the same thing in acting. It's the same thing in singing or anything you're passionate about. That was a great point. And Tanya, when you do send them off to, let's say, an audition or what do you expect from your clients when they go to an audition?
I expect them to be prepared. I expect them to call me if they have questions. Obviously, I'm somebody who likes to talk things through, and I feel like, you know, depending on the experience of each performer, there needs to be a certain time period where I have to hold their hand and say, this casting director works like this. This is what you should expect when you walk in the room. You need to be presentable. You need to know your lines. You need to be, it's always about being prepared. At the end of the day, go in as prepared as it is possible. Obviously, if you get 10 pages the day before, my expectation is not that you know it by heart. It's that you're comfortable with it, you can hold the sheet, but you understand the gist of what's going on and you're ready to go in and perform. And if you're not, then you should cancel it. If you're not ready, you need to be able to say, you know what, this is too big for me. I'm not ready. I'm not there. I want to work, but it's better to stop before you go in than to, yeah, misrepresent yourself.
Oh my God, that's so good. I have this in a few other interviews. Say no if you're not ready, because it's not going to do you good and it's not going to do the agency good either. So it's like, do not show up. So that means if you do get an audition the day before, it's not going to come on like this, right? You're going to have to train. Like it takes time, it takes practice. You have to kind of always be in that energy, in that vibe. And this is why, and this is how I see it when people get rehired all the time, is because they're feeding that energy. Like they're in it, they get it, right? So when you stop, it's like anything. You have to like keep the practice going, even if there's nothing happening right now. And that brings me to the other topic. When things are not happening, actors get discouraged. And then they get something. They're not going to hire me. Right away, they receive something and they're already telling themselves they're not going to get it.
Yes, often, yes. Yes. Some people are very pessimistic because they feel like, some people even feel like they're destined to only work in one part of the industry because they've done so well in one that they almost fear the other. And so you kind of have to, yeah, build the confidence and not get discouraged so easily. It's easier said than done, but I think, again, I think communicate with other actors, talk to your coaches, talk to your agent. All these people are resources to actors. There's so many people who really understand. And you know, me being an agent for 20 years, I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen different phases in actors' lives, and actors have to be honest about where they are, of what they're comfortable with, but also not be afraid to push themselves and not be afraid to train in something that they're not comfortable in too. Not to say, for instance, I'd like to work in this industry, but I'm afraid maybe I'm not 100% ready for that. So go out and ask people, hey, who could help me with this? Can I get, it could be with you, obviously. It could be private coaching as well. It could be there's a lot of different ways. It could be even a friend that helps you with something. So there's other actors in the industry that maybe it's a last minute thing, but you can ask for pointers. Just try to find the resources. People can't be lazy. You can't be lazy in this industry. That's the last thing. You always have to be creative. You always have to, even as agents, we have to be creative sometimes and work around situations and figure things out in the way we suggest and the way we work. And, you know, anyways.
No, that's great. Ask the right questions, everybody. Keep asking the right questions. And I keep saying it, there's so many amazing people here in Montreal where they're a phone call away, they're a message away, an email away. Just ask the questions, see who's going to answer you, whatever you need to know, and go for it. Because when you sit down and become lazy, what do you think is going to happen? The phones are not going to ring. The phones are going to ring once you're taking action for what you want. Tanya, about the unions, if you're not a part of a union, would you take them on, or agents, how do you do it with the union, like the ACTRA and UDA? Like,
it depends on the age, it depends on the actor, it depends on a lot of stuff. I don't expect, obviously, kids to be union members. And then everyone who's done a formal theater program gets their first credit at ACTRA. UDA as well is giving credits for a professional theater program. There's a few programs. Anyways, UDA is a bit more complex in their list, but if you call them, they'll tell you. So for me, I think it's about the package. It's very hard to analyze. It's also, does this person fit into my roster? So what is my style of actor? And then is there competition? So, you know, at one point, this Australian actor, really good, perfect, came in. He's super talented, but he was so much like an actor I have who's from New Zealand. Same hair coloring, same height, same style, same comedic. He was practically the twin of a performer I had. I'm not going to take someone who's going to come in and steal work from somebody I already represent for, you know, whatever, 10, 15 years. So I refused him, not because he wasn't talented, not because he didn't have capacity. He just, you know, I have somebody identical to him. It doesn't make sense for me to not prioritize somebody I'm already committed to, right? So sometimes it's just that person doesn't fit. Again, it's, I don't know, it's kind of an intangible thing, right? You go through everything, but at the end of the day, training is at the base of everything, you know, and experience. So if someone has very little training, but has been working for, you know, 15, 20 years and got, you know, we have a performer who I don't think ever formally trained, almost the only one on my roster really who didn't, and kind of just started working on a television series at a young age and just kept going for years and years and years. That's something that
experience. That's called the experience part.
The experience there, they flex those acting muscles for, you know, 5, 6 years on a daily basis. That's a form of training, right? So it's all kind of something that you sit down and then there's the heart. I can't, you know, my heart falls in love who it falls in love with.
Yes, exactly.
But it's a commitment for us, right? You have to remember that for an agent, I don't commit for 2 years. I commit for eternity. So to me, it's like a marriage. It's when I say I take you on, I go to bed thinking about you and I wake up thinking about it. That's how I am. I like wake up and I'm thinking like, oh, you know, I need to get work. This is how I am. I'm a little crazy that way, but it's a full commitment. So they're like family to me at some point.
And we feel it. My son is represented by Tanya and Molly at Reisler, and he's been with you guys for what, 6? Well, he 9. Yeah, he was six years.
A long time, yeah.
And now we're married for life, Tanya.
We are.
And it's so wonderful because I'm also in the industry, so it makes this whole thing very easy. That's why I'm in touch with agents. I know what they need. I try to always bring that to the Academy or on my Triple Threat studio, where the whole thing is having easy access to the training and being able to practice and showcase your talent on stage. And this is where I invite you guys usually to my showcases, and you get to see all this talent. And sometimes you came to me saying, wow, I would like to have this person on my roster. How many people are usually in a roster? Like, what is the number per agent?
Oh, everyone's different. So there's like more boutique agencies like us. So I think our number's around 80.
Okay.
But that's high because not everyone is working full time. There's some people who are like a little bit retired, especially with COVID. Some people can't work because of their age or their health issues. And then some people only work voice, or some people are really busy directing, so they could go a year without working. So, you know, I might have 60 people that are working constantly, and then some people that are in and out or move abroad, come back. It's a little bit, there's a bit of flexibility in that number.
Right.
And, you know, there are agents who have hundreds and hundreds of clients, and there's some that have 20. So it's all variable, depends on the team. So big agencies may have, you know, 3, 4, 5 agents, and some may have, Molly and I were 2. I think we're kind of in the average for Montreal. Maybe, you know, we're in the more boutique, like I said, agencies. There's some that are bigger, especially on the French side. We see much bigger agencies. So it really, it's the agent tailors the agency to what their vision, how they want to work.
But you have such a strong roster of actors. Like when we go on your website and we see it, it's like, wow, these actors work. These actors have experience. These actors, they show up. They really show up. So I love
they work.
That's one thing I look at when I go look at agents' website. I do that. You know, I do my research. It's like, wow, they have so and so and so and so, and the list goes on. And it's always important to go see where you're at in your experience, in your training, and see which agent would be best, you know, best fits your where you are at this present time. Because we're competing with some good actors in that roster right there at Reisler. So it's really, really awesome. And Thank you. I mean, I think we went around everything. Is there anything that I'm missing out that is important to know that you get maybe questions or?
I think the biggest thing is that a lot of people misunderstand the industry in Montreal, and or think that they can go from getting a job here to suddenly becoming famous in the US. That's a really dangerous thing. You can't think in terms of fame, because if you're aiming for fame, you're in the wrong industry. People have to aim to work enough so that they can live and do this as a profession. That should be your aim, and to constantly try to make connections. I think that's how you survive in this industry, and find a way to be happy, content in working with it, because it's a very trying industry. It's very hard at times for people. So if you can make connection, you can't solely count on your coach or your agent to do everything for you. Go out there, meet people, go to openings when everything reopens. I say to people, go to openings, go see shows, shake hands, meet people, because often those are the people who will call and ask for you. So yeah, I think people have to have a realistic expectation of how long it's going to take them to break in. Just to become an ACTRA member, usually, and we're quite good, I feel our record is usually it takes somebody about a year to become a full ACTRA member when they're on our roster, and we're pushing extremely hard, but it could take multiple years to become a full member, and it could take you more time to take off. You just have to be consistent and work hard, and like we said, communicate. Yeah.
Oh, communicate. That's exactly it. I love it. The consistency, the training, the preparation. You know what I always say? I always love to present my work, and if I land a job, it's a bonus. I just love the fact that I get called in for my work. And if they like my work and they keep calling me, even, they call this rejection, but I call it like, hey, you're still calling for me, like you're still wanting, and I'm using me as an example, but it could be any actor, right? It's like, you're still calling that actor in. There's something good about it.
Absolutely. You would know. We know pretty quickly if things are working, because if somebody's consistently being called back, even if they don't book, it means that they're doing something right. It just, and I had this conversation with Andrea last week. I said, I want feedback on a client. And I said, I feel like all their auditions are really solid and they're doing such good work. And she said to me, they should be booking big roles, and they will. We just need the right role to come along. So keep doing the good work. And to me, every good audition brings work. It may not be for the job you're hoping to get, but that good audition will reflect good on you. And that casting director, that producer, that director will say, maybe you're not right for this, but then it could be at any point down in your career, they may call and say, I want that person because I remember them and they were really good, and I want to offer them this instead. So that's what this industry is about: consistency. Just
okay, so for everybody, Andrea, she mentioned Andrea Kenyon is our biggest casting house here in Montreal. And yes, agents do speak to the casting agents, and they're very close. And they're rooting for you. I remember Andrea when she came to the studio, they're rooting for you anyway. It's just that they have to cast whatever they need to cast for whatever is being asked of them. And you know what? You guys collaborate very well. What do you think Andrea would say? I would love to have her interview again, but what would she say to all the artists? Like, what do you think she would, say?
I can't speak directly for her, but I think we all kind of agree on the same stuff. I think Andrea is always expecting people to present themselves in the best way possible, to make strong choices. I think that's what they always say, because don't forget, I think often casting directors will tell us, everyone read this the same way except for one performer, and that kind of stuck out. They made a choice, or they saw something different, or they took the time to really look at the text, depending on how big it is, obviously. But make choices, and then don't be afraid to sometimes do multiple reads. Try to find different ways to present yourself, but then be consistent. Just keep pushing, keep doing the audition. Don't be afraid. I think there's some actors, I feel recently, I think all of this pandemic affects everybody in a different way, but I think mentally some people are tired of doing tapes because they're not getting the feedback. It's hard for them. So don't be afraid to just keep taping. I know it's difficult, the setup, the cameras, all this stuff, but just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. And if casting would have an issue, they would communicate it. They would call me and say, tell your actor that this is a problem. They've had people redo their tapes. They've had people, don't be afraid to call and ask them directly also, because sometimes they'll say to us, you know, if anyone has a question, tell them they can call us. They will sit down and talk to actors personally, not all the time, not for 2 lines, but if you're going in for an important part, or there's really serious questions that you have, they're always available, because at the end of the day, they want to present the best tapes possible, the best auditions possible. So
And
don't be
they
afraid to
represent.
ask questions.
Exactly. And they want to represent our Montreal talent, right? Aren't they rooting
Yes,
for us?
absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. They want to represent Montreal talent. They want to represent diversity as well. I think that's something also that's been a hot topic for all of us in the industry of late, is for us to look at breakdowns and not necessarily stop at what it says on the paper, but push for a diverse type of actor as well. So don't get discouraged if the description doesn't, sometimes it might say white male and it's a black female going in for the role because it's a doctor, and who cares? Anybody could be a doctor. If we feel that you can do it, and we can push the network to take you on and have someone who's diverse in that role, then so be it. Trust that the people who are asking you to tape off or audition, because we will get back into the audition room, but trust that those people know that there's flexibility where there's flexibility, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And you just have to show up. Our job as an artist is just show up, be prepared, be ready, and make bold choices, like big choices, like different choices. Don't be afraid. And that's another thing. Don't be afraid and have fun. Trust yourself, but do the work. That's when you're going to get to a comfortable stage where you can show up and say, hey, I'm ready to play. Let's go, you know, instead of coming in going, oh my God, I'm auditioning for this big casting. So I think when you know what you're going into, it's just more fun. I believe anyways, the whole preparation makes it more fun. When you go, you just have to listen to that direction, take the direction and apply it and keep going. I love everything you just said, Tanya. It was so important. I hope you all learned something, because this is exactly what we need. And as you see, the agents are just like everybody else. Like, I mean, they speak, they answer our questions. You know, sometimes they're so afraid because they have to show up a different way. And I just believe that the training speaks for itself, the knowledge, experience. And then that's it. You play together, and it's fun to represent somebody that's at the same level of what is needed out there to be represented. So thank you, Tanya. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. And I'm going to hopefully see you soon out there in a show or something. I can't wait to get back.
I know. Oh my God. We'll have a glass of wine together, you and
yes,
I.
We will. It's going to be one
too.
We'll have fun and how do you say, share all this love, this passion that's out there here in Montreal with all the beautiful talent. All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.